Hello everyone and welcome back to Whisky Wednesday. Another slightly different location, just for reasons. It has only just occurred to me that we have never reviewed Monkey Shoulder. Now when I say we, I don't mean like the collective we, the whisky industry and whisky YouTube has certainly reviewed it, just I have not. And for some reason I've been too lazy to see if Joe had previously reviewed it, but I'm pretty sure he has. I'm just going to lay that out the way over there. What is Monkey Shoulder? It is one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing, whisky in the blended malt category. It is a whisky which I, in my day job, get asked for and about quite a lot. And I feel like it's doing a lot for the blended malt name. It's not as niche as Compass Box. I love Compass Box, but their products are only ever really found in specialist retailers, which I do think is a good thing because it opens up a broader conversation. But this is available for £26, £27 a bottle in pretty much all supermarkets, which is great. Couple of things to clear up on it. Blended malt whiskey is made by the William Grant's family, or the William Grant Company, and is a combination of the three single malt whiskies that they own and produce in pretty much the same estate. You've got Glenfiddich, Balvenie and Kininvie. All very fragrant, light, fruity, honeyed, classic Speyside whiskies. I would imagine most of the stock in this whiskey is bourbon cask matured. There probably is some sherry in it, but I'd imagine not a lot. I get asked quite a lot about this, which is the batch 27 thing on there. I would imagine, much like VAT 69 and even the old rumour that was kicking around about Maker's Mark 46, I imagine that was just the batch that worked with the percentages of Glenfiddich, Balvenie and Kininvie. Kininvie is a massive operation. They make whiskey at that distillery purely for the Grant's blends, and for this, the occasional special release of Kininvie itself. Balvenie we all know, Glenfiddich we all know. This whiskey, due to its output and its price, we can definitely assume it's coloured and that it's chill filtered. But as you all know, if you're paying for a bottle of whiskey under £30, you should probably expect that. I can't think of many whiskies under £30 which aren't chill filtered or coloured. But nonetheless, here it is. It's a beautiful colour, be it natural or not. Very nice shade of kind of golden orange, golden syrup sort of thing. Confession. I cannot actually remember the last time I drank this whiskey. And for many reasons, mainly because it is so available. It is in most bars. It's a great drink to drink neat, or so I've heard. It's great in cocktails. It's good in mixers. You can do whatever you want with it. And I think affordable utilitarian whiskey certainly will be a focus for us this year, but I've said that in previous videos anyway. But anyway, we're going to smell, we're going to taste, and let's see what's going on with Monkey Shoulder. I've just done some cleaning in here, and this has been sat in the glass for quite a while. It's not left too much of an impression on the glass in terms of like body. There's some legs kicking around, but you'll always get that. Smell. It certainly smells like Glenfiddich. It reminds me a lot of Glenfiddich 12. And the Kininvie that I've tried has always been this very sort of tropical, mango-y, pineapple sort of whiskey. And there is a little bit of that in there too. But there's it's quite a classic Speyside nose, to be honest. It's got these really nice appley, lemony, honey, malty nose. Yeah, it smells good. It doesn't smell peated, as you would imagine, which I think is something which is welcoming for a lot of, not necessarily first time, but newer whiskey drinkers. You know, that smell can be so dividing, but there's not a trace of it there. Yeah, malted, honey, you could argue it's like a little bit cinnamon driven, but there's not loads of that, and I'm not a huge fan of that anyway. But it's a bit toffee-like, it's kind of fudgy. But overall, you've got this kind of apple pie smell to it. Pastry, fresh apple. some brown sugar notes. Anyway, let's taste. Didn't really get much on the palate, which is odd. There was no sort of huge note screaming out at me. We'll taste again, but we'll talk about the finish first. For something which is bottled at 40% alcohol, there is a very gentle heat to this. Very welcoming, still quite soft, still very toffee driven. The taste of it and that heat actually reminds me a lot of like a hot toffee sauce or like a warm caramel sauce. It's just kind of coating the sides of your mouth. It's just a little bit of heat. It's not offensive. Age-wise, we've got no idea. But again, for the price, it shouldn't really matter. So, oh, excuse me. Does it give any indication to this at all? It does not. There are some tasty notes on the back of it, but I'm going to ignore those. Second time. See if we can get anything actually on the palate. The finish again, quite malty, a little bit of creaminess to it. Again though, there's not loads of things on the palate. I would expect one or two kind of key Grant's notes, but not really getting anything. It's quite vague. It's a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of spiciness, which you could translate into like oak, or that slight cinnamon note I was talking about. Arguably even things like nutmeg, burnt caramel, things like that. But the nose is so much more leading. Like the nose kind of makes you think there's going to be this like lemony apple marzipan pastry thing. The nose is wonderful. I really like the nose. It's very typical, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I quite like Speyside whiskies. Yeah, the palate is pretty. One thing which I think is quite unusual is that on the arrival, it reminds me of just having a glass of water, like texturally, and almost refreshingly. This glass isn't cold, but the first sip reminds me of taking a glass of water. That's quite worrying. The oak spicy thing is building. Yeah, I mean, like honey, toffee, the slightest idea of caramel. The more I drink it, the bitterer, or the more bitter it becomes. But at the same time, this isn't meant to be an overly complex product. I just hope the palate would jump out a little bit more, but it doesn't really. It's a little disappointing, just to the taste of it, because there's no huge note coming through. It's a bit kind of fresh cut grass sort of thing. Cleansing, refreshing. Yeah, but there's no huge Glenfiddich, Balvenie or Kininvie note on the palate, which is a little bit disappointing. But again, at this price point, it's not particularly meant to be an enthralling product. It is nice. I will say, when I finish this bottle, I don't think I would buy another, just based off that first pour, and I'll probably end up using this, well, I will drink it neat, but I'll probably end up using it for like, just cocktails and stuff. Overall, I don't think it's a bad whiskey, and it's doing some good stuff for a category. I think that's fantastic. But there are blended malts out there which have, even at a base point, base price, and even some blends at a base price, which have quite a lot more going on than that. So I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. I don't think that's too cruel. I think that's quite apt. It's a very simple whiskey. It's got a very simple price point, and it's not meant to scream. It would have got a 7 if the palate was a little bit more interesting, but it isn't. But alas, we've finally reviewed Monkey Shoulder. A point for you all too. So in front of me here, you can't see it because it's behind the camera, I've got a wealth of sample bottles and quite a lot of rum. And for every Sunday going forward, I was thinking about doing something either like Sample Sunday, or instead of calling it Sunday, call it Rum Day. Just because there's quite a lot to work through, and we did a little bit on cognac. I'm still trying to find some cool bottles to contrast and compare. There's one over there which we will review quite soon, and it was not expensive and it's delightful. But I've got this cool selection of like plantation rums. If I can reach over this table here, we've got things like, this is from Tipples in Manchester. That's the 2009 Foursquare vintage. And I've got a couple of other Foursquare bottles over there too. So yeah, would you want Rum Day or would you want Sample Sunday? Just let me know below. Whichever one gets the most votes, I'll do that. But yeah, thank you all for watching. That is Monkey Shoulder. That was a 6.5 out of 10. And yeah, I'll see you all next week. Cheers.